I don't care if you're gay, straight, confused, or just plain old drunk and horny. The Palace is a lot of fun. All right, everybody, a little walking podcast today. Wanted to change it up a little bit, change the scenery, get out of the studio, get away from all the monitors and everything, and just talk a little bit more naturally with everybody on today's podcast. Caravan, the podcast. A couple of things we're going to talk about today. Again, we're going to recap the market, what's going on with the market data in Miami, Dade County. Got some news about that. Pretty cool new listing that just came on the market the other day. I also want to discuss the Beverly Hills market, what's going on out there. Again, I'd like to, if you've been following the podcast, now we're on podcast number 4, and I'm live on Ocean Drive, by the way. And we're on podcast number 4, and it's great because I'm starting to see, the first week we only had about 50 views, second week about 200. Last week I put some marketing behind it. We had almost 700 views, and I'm thinking we'll probably get up to, somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 with the walking podcast. So I want to talk about the Beverly Hills market. I want to talk about some stuff that's going on Lincoln Road in the hospitality industry right here in beautiful Miami Beach, my home where I live. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about politics and talk a little bit about how politics and economics and what kind of impact I feel, my own humble opinion, what's going on with all of that. I will tell you this, though. We got absolutely amazing news. Caravan, the series, season 1, was finally published. It was licensed about a month ago by Amazon Prime. It was finally published by Amazon Prime. Then we heard from Tubi, who also licensed it a couple of weeks ago. Tubi will be publishing it in September. And we are going to start shooting season 2 probably within the next week or so. We have a bunch of segments lined up and a bunch of realtors to feature, so it's going to be huge. Let's talk about that, though. In the first 48 hours, we had something like 4,500 downloads of the show. And it just got published on Thursday. So that's just amazing news. It validates everything that I've been doing to see that Amazon Prime, it's been on Roku, it's been on Amazon Fire Stick, on Boost TV, my own network. But to see that Amazon Prime put it out there, that's awesome, because that validates everything. And of course now, a lot of realtors are calling me, a lot of business owners are calling me, and they want to know how they can get featured, which I think is just awesome. Right over here is the Versace mansion. If you don't know Versace mansion, this is where Gianni Versace was shot and killed, right there by Andrew Cunanan. I went to school with a kid named Mike Cunanan back on Long Island, Massapequa kid. Went to Chaminade with him. He got kicked out. He failed out. He didn't get kicked out, failed out sophomore year. But anyways, I digress. You could hear the music pumping from the Palace. Of course, I'll show you that in a second. But it's huge. I mean, almost 5,000 views, Amazon Prime TV. That's huge. Of course, the revenue from it helps. And now, it's just going to lead to bigger and better things, thank God. What do we see coming up? All right, let's start with the Miami-Dade market. I always start off with the Miami-Dade market. Things are not looking healthy. So we got, what's going on in the Miami-Dade market? We got 14,000 listings. The amount of listings went up since last week. This past 30 days, we had a little bit more than 2,000 sales in Miami-Dade. So that gives us a solid 7-month supply. All right, hold on a second. I got to walk across the street and show you this. Okay, this is always a good tourist attraction here. The dancers at. I don't know where the dancers are, but this is definitely the most fun on Ocean Drive any day of the week, but especially on the weekends. This is this and Twist are probably the center of gay culture in Miami. By the way, that's a cross-dresser or a tranny. What a show, huh? All right, let's get back to our real estate discussion, shall we? I just had to show you guys that. It's definitely, if you're in Miami, you visit Miami, especially Ocean Drive, Miami Beach. I don't care if you're gay, straight, or whatever. The Palace is the place to be. My saying is usually, I don't care if you're gay, straight, confused, or just plain old drunk and horny. The Palace is a lot of fun. All right, so the Miami-Dade market, very interesting. Got over 14,000 listings. Listings are up since last week's podcast, and we have, we had a little bit more than 2,000 sales in the past 30 days. So that gives us a 7-month supply. And what we see, the biggest difference between last week and this week is a ton more condos came on. We're now at like almost 15-month supply in the condo market in Miami-Dade County. It's going in the wrong direction. And what we're also seeing is price declines. Days on market is blowing up. These are all symbols of a housing market that is transitioning rather quickly, because usually housing is a lagging indicator. But when we see it moving like this, it's moving quick for a housing market in the other direction, away from a seller's market to a buyer's market. And then you combine in the August 17th when the NAR rule goes in place with buyers, agents, commissions having to be negotiated, and it's not an automatic. It's going to be interesting. So we're seeing the market here kind of slide in the wrong direction for sellers, but for buyers, I think that it's a pretty good sign. And also on top of that, right? By the way, that's Cleveland there. I just passed the Cleveland there. It's over my shoulder over there. Ocean's 10 is right here. This is the famous Miami Beach clock, where everybody that comes to Miami Beach, they always take their picture here. It's pretty freaking cool. It's got the date, the time on it, and everything. And comes here. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, how are
Oh, there we go. Look at those nails.
Yes. Oh,
wow.
Nails.
Yeah, the nails are pretty cool.
Yes.
I like them.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Very cool. This guy's giving free tickets. Gotta love it. So when we see the housing market start to shift like that, it's better for buyers. And on top of what's happening with the buyer's agent's commission, it's a lot going on in the housing market. This past week, we saw some crazy, real craziness in the economic markets. Look at me, I'm sweating out here like a sinner in church. See some craziness happening in the housing market, I mean, in the financial markets, where, a week and a half ago, the financial markets went down, and then of course they came back up. And I believe that it's more a result of stochastics, candle patterns, resistance, RSI, support and resistance levels, and just when you look at the volatility index, everything was lining up. That's how I knew that the market was going to pull back. Okay, everybody knew it. All the smart money knew it. I sold out of a lot of positions and I bought back in. I sold out about a month ago. I didn't time it right, but I sold out about a month ago, and then I bought back in the other day. But what happened in that market is that the bond market kind of freaked out. Oh, as well, we got Mango's right here, another great spot. If you're a tourist here at night, the nightclubs are cool, but Mango's, man, they got live entertainment, live bands, people dancing on the bar. It's fantastic. All right, so it was great for what happened in the financial market, which was great for the bond market in relation to mortgage rates, because we actually saw mortgage rates just dip down. We finally saw them crack, consistently the whole week, because the 10-year bond, which kind of dictates historically the 30-year fixed rate mortgage, we saw the 10-year bond dive down. Yeah, I'm doing a podcast here. Can you turn up the music, bro? We saw the 10-year bond slip down from like 4.25 to like 3.7, and we saw a reflex reaction going on in the. Oh shit! What do we got here? What do we got here? Do we have something going on here? So we saw the converse reaction in the housing in the mortgage rates, where Rates typically were staying up over 7. Now they popped down underneath 6.5. We saw some programs, like some of the specialty, like the LMI, which is low to moderate income area loans, which if you don't know, ask any mortgage lender about it, ask me about it. Every single bank, Citibank, Chase, Bank of America, Wells, all the big banks, they all have to have certain programs in place to help first-time home buyers and low to moderate income buyers as well. And those rates typically are much, much, much lower than what their regular rates are. Let's see what's happening here. We just got some police activity. I don't know what the hell's going on. Oh. What happened here? What happened here, huh? Let's see what we got. Okay. Oh, they got somebody. They got somebody. All right, so that's what happens when the markets move like that. That's what happens. There's always an equal and opposite reaction to an action. So when we see the markets like just tumble the way that they did, the Dow, the S&P, the Russell Index, when we see all of these markets just kind of disintegrate like that and have some crazy, insane volatility, that's when the inverse action, the reaction, is that mortgage rates dropped, which then helps people that have been waiting to buy a house. So that was the good news this week. Let's talk about what's going on in Beverly Hills, because this is interesting. So Beverly Hills, it's probably got the most famous zip code in the world, 90210, made famous by the TV show in the 90s. And it's interesting to see what's going on there. So they've got about, what do they have? They've got about 180 houses listed for sale, which is interesting. So they have 180 houses listed for sale. And then I think they only had something like 29 houses sold in the last 30 days. Now the average sale price is so high that you really can't feel bad for them, but that's still a 7-month supply. That's kind of the equivalent of Miami-Dade. I didn't pull up the numbers. I really didn't research Miami Beach's numbers in particular, just because Miami Beach is Miami Beach. It's kind of similar to Beverly Hills. We have so many high-priced houses here that it throws off all of the averages. But the thing I will say is that Beverly Hills, the listings that I've studied that have been on the market for more than 90 days, a lot of them, I would say about 70% of what I looked at, because I looked at 10, 7 of them had price changes, right? Major price reductions. Again, that's the market reacting to, oh my God, my house that I bought for 1.5 million 10 years ago, isn't worth 10 million. It's probably only worth 5. All right, so that's what we're seeing. It's pretty interesting. And then coming back to Miami Beach, though, really cool listing just came on the market. Sunset Harbor, one of the islands, $35 million. This house is huge. $35 million, absolutely tremendous. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to track that one every week. So I'm going to put it up here on the screen. I'm going to put up a screenshot of it. $35 million. It's a pretty cool house, pretty cool spot. I'm going to cross the street and get out of the sun here. So I'm dying. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that one over there on the Sunset Harbor. Good. These people are nuts, I'm telling you. Whew, man, you guys are seeing me sweat here today. Holy crap. All right, let's talk a little bit about politics and the economy. It's very, very interesting that we saw Donald Trump speaking for over a month now about removing income tax off of tip income in the hospitality industry, which would be tremendous, right? And then this week we see Kamala come up and she says the same thing. I mean, could it be any more blatant to what is going on? I want to see exactly what is happening with her campaign, because in the event that she does get elected, we need to know what her economic policies are going to be. We need to know concretely what are her and her campaign and her administration, if she does win, what are her policies going to be on immigration, because these are things that really are going to shape the economy. If you track back to when Trump was elected president in 2016, the market took off. Why? Because part of his economic belief and his economic policies as a politician, as an elected official, is that he believes in cutting capital gains tax. He believes in doing away with tons of overbearing government regulations to free up companies to go out and dig for oil, to go out and hire people, to go out and bring their money back in from overseas and invest here in America. And that's what we have to see. What are her policies going to include? Right now, we know nothing. The other interesting thing about her is that, run into a little traffic jam here. It feels so good though, right here in the shade. Woo, so much better. The other interesting thing, okay, this goes a little bit deep. Since I ran for elected office, I know how these things work. When you run for elected office, your campaign is assigned an FEC number, Federal Elections Commission number. That number stays with you, whether you run for the city of Miami Beach mayor or you run for president, your FEC number stays with you forever. It's kind of like your social security number. And it's very interesting because if you go and you look up her campaign number, it's completely different than when she ran for Senate and when she ran for president 2020. So it's completely different right now. And when you look at it and you say, wait a minute, how can she have a different number? Then when you go look up that number, guess whose number it is? That's Joe Biden's FEC number. So you have to ask yourself, what the hell is going on if she just took Joe Biden's FEC number and took all of his campaign donations and took all of his technology and all of his information and everything? I mean, that is 120%, actually it's 1,000,000% against the Election Commission laws. And that's what I think when President Trump gave his interview the other day at Mar-a-Lago, and somebody asked him, you know, what in the Constitution is illegal about Kamala Harris being the Democratic candidate for president without being elected? That's exactly what it is, and that's what he needs to say. You know, how does she just shed her FEC number and just take over Joe Biden's FEC number, which Joe Biden's had his FEC number forever and ever and ever? So these are things that you just have to ask and wonder what the hell is going on. All right, what else is going on in the news? You know, a little Rolls Royce creeping down the street here, down Ocean Drive. All right, we'll walk up a little bit here. What else is going on in the news? Can't think of anything else that's going on in the news other than that new show Caravan getting published on Amazon Prime. I mean, that's pretty freaking cool. I mean, what else do you need to know? You know? Let's be honest now. It's the best news all day. Hey, how you doing? Okay. No, I ain't got you, bro. I ain't got you, bro. Guy's holding up his hand like I want to get him. Guy looks like a weirdo. Like I want to get him on camera. Come on. Now we're walking by Mangoes. God, I love Mangoes. It's my favorite spot. All right. Oh, I know what else I wanted to talk about. What's going on Lincoln Road? This is the last thing we're going to talk about. Then we're going to wrap this one up. What's going on Lincoln Road? We have a huge restaurant, Choto Mate, which is owned by the same group that owns Nobu, or some of the principals from Nobu are partners in Choto Mate. And Choto Mate, which is right off, it's on Lincoln Road, but it's Lincoln Lane. It's right off of Lincoln Road. it's closed its doors. That place opened up like 4 years ago. It cost millions of dollars to open. What is this? George, what's up, brother?
Hi.
Yo. Missed him. Sorry. Had a phone call coming through. So Chotomate closed its doors, and that's run by a well-funded restaurant group. It's not, just a one-off. That just like closed its doors out of the blue, and then right around the corner from it on Lincoln, Yard House is closing in 2 weeks. Absolutely crazy. And what I see happening is that the inflation index and inflation on the cost of raw goods is just killing the consumer and killing the hospitality industry. Why? Because, first of all, discretionary spending by consumers is way down. Why? Because if they got to spend $6 a gallon for gas, that's $3 or $4 less than what they had 4 years ago to go out and spend on discretionary cash. That's number one. Number two, the cost of food is way up. I bought a steak the other day at the supermarket. The steak was like $29 for a T-bone steak. Like 14 ounces. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on here with this crowd. Excuse me, guys. So $30 for a steak. I mean, I go food shop. I spend about $400 or $500. I'm a single guy. I live alone. I spend about $400 or $500 a month on just buying food for the house. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Look at the Clevelander. Here's another instance. Clevelander used to be the spot, and now look at it. It's freaking dead. There's about 10 people in the whole place. The place used to be popping. Now it's dead. So anyways, so when you have the cost to operate, rent's way up, especially in Miami Beach. When you have rent's way up, when you have the cost of food way up, and then when you combine that with two other factors, less discretionary cash for consumers to go out and spend, less cash for consumers to go out and travel with, and then on top of that, the very same time in the city of Miami Beach where we've made it super difficult due to poor leadership during the 2010s. We made it super difficult for businesses to open up and establish themselves with just, ridiculously difficult building restrictions. Like if you have to build a restaurant and put it in a grease trap, it's going to take you 2 years by the time you get all the government approvals and everything else. It's just not acceptable. So what happened? We saw, instead of developers, instead of businesses coming to Miami Beach over the past 10 or 15 years and developing Miami Beach and redeveloping places, we saw all of this money get funneled out into Brickell, Wynwood, downtown, the Design District. Design District's absolutely amazing right now, right? And you see all these other areas pop up, even Doral. I mean, they spend billions pumping up Doral, and that's out in the suburbs. It's out way west. It's about 12 miles past Miami Beach. So when you see all of that, it's just almost impossible for new restaurants to just really come on the scene here and try to take market share away from the already established groups that already have a crowd. They've got the crowd. They have the staff. They have the music. They have everything. That's really difficult for anybody to try to overcome. Well, that's what we're seeing. That's what I see, at least. And it doesn't look good when you see two major restaurants in a week closed down, and they're literally 150 feet away from each other. So when you see two major restaurants that are well-funded, run by professional restaurant groups, when you see that happen, that is not a good sign. Just saying, All right, that's my time for today. This has been Caravan, the companion podcast. Today, a little walking vlog on Ocean Drive. Make sure you tune in, make sure you follow, stick a like in here, and let's have some fun together. You all have a fantastic week. I'll see you later.